Out of Order English Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Out of Order English Podcast has just started. Welcome. This is the very first episode of Out of Order English Podcast. I am Ben from Turkey. And I am not alone. We are 3 people in this episode today. Let me introduce our permanent host, Steve. He is a native English speaker from UK. Hello, Steve.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Ben. Hello. Oh, I won't mention the other name because you want to surprise everybody.
And we have a guest. She is not a permanent guest, but yeah, maybe from time to time she will be with us. And welcome, Sevira.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Severa.
Steve, everyone knows you on Free4Talk. You have the most followers, even though you lost like a couple hundreds today because the owner, the admin of Free4Talk, just made some reduction and removed some inactive accounts from the system. So you end up losing like 15% of your followers. How do you feel?
It's nice to have so many followers because obviously that shows that I'm doing something right and endeavoring to help as many people as I can, and they appreciate that, which is good, so they follow me. But losing a few, that's okay. There's always new people coming in all the time, so we'll get to meet some new people and those numbers will go up again.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I mean, I will not agree with the part when you said, for example, when you have lots of followers, it means someone doing something good. Not always. Yeah, in this case, it is true. I agree with that. But not all the cases, because we see people around the world, I mean, like on social media, they are so popular, but they are doing so, I mean, like worthless things. And you said, come on.
Yeah, some people do stuff and you think, why on earth are they wasting their time doing that? And you think, it doesn't make any sense, but they've got thousands of followers. Go figure.
Yeah, I mean, even millions. Yeah, I mean, like on YouTube, for example. Don't need to mention even Instagram and the other popular social media. What do you think, Savira?
Well, it is a very strange thing, right? When people do things that you don't think really necessary, but I think people have just their own preferences, and it's not our duty to judge what people likings are.
I mean, like sometimes you feel sad because the quality just became not appreciated. That's make someone feel sad. I mean, like, because there are really great works spent so much time, energy to be produced. But yeah, I mean, when you look at people, what do they appreciate? You just say, what's the problem? They say each to their own. Of course, everyone has its own preference. But I mean, the quality things should be a little bit like higher appreciated. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, everybody is unique, aren't they? So, sorry, Severa, please carry on.
Oh, no, it's okay. I think there's a little bit of delay between among us.
Let's talk about our podcast. This is our very first episode of Out of Order English Podcast. How this program just appeared into existence. Let's talk about that. Actually, it is Steve's suggestion. It is Steve's idea. Steve, can you tell us about this podcast? How did you think up of it?
Well, when I've done podcasts in the past, it's always been live. So you do it at the time, and it's ad hoc. So it's not scheduled apart from the time. You have an idea what you're talking about, but it's not scripted. So it's very spontaneous. So if a glitch happens, you deal with it as it happens. If somebody makes an error in what they say or says something funny, then it's spontaneous. It just makes it sound a little bit more inviting. because you never really know what's around the corner, and the listener is also not going to know what's around the corner. So you might have a surprise.
Yeah, actually, in normal cases, it is something I wouldn't dare actually to try. But since we have you in this podcast, I mean, like a native English speaker, in case I do some mistakes, you will fix us and help us learn from our mistakes. And that's an opportunity, I said, maybe, because I mean, without making mistakes, you will not learn in good way. So in this case, when you just point out the mistakes, I think I will pay more attention. So yeah, I mean, thanks to you, it is happening, this one.
Well, you know me for a long time now. I'm happy to help people, and if I notice a mistake or a grammatical error, then it's good to be able to help people with that, and hopefully that mistake won't happen again.
Yeah, we hope that. But of course, it will be not easy as we say now, at least for me, of course. But at least this problem, I mean, this mistake will be recorded, and other people also will learn from my mistakes. And actually, it reminds me a saying, it goes like that: learn from the mistakes of others, because you will not have enough time to do all by yourself.
Yeah, that's true. If you are listening to something like this podcast or a movie, TV series, whatever it may be, YouTube, for instance, if you can notice other people's mistakes too and learn from them so that you don't make that mistake, then that's a good thing. It's a positive thing.
And actually, you just made me think about that as well. I mean, yeah, for example, when you are watching some other productions, some other videos or something, you can spot the problem, but not if you are beginner. For example, if you are intermediate, maybe you will not be able to. So it will not be easy to learn from the mistakes in that case. But here, you will fix it right at the moment. I mean, like right off the bat. Can we say that right off the bat?
Right off the bat, yeah, or at that moment. It's good if you've made a mistake and somebody mentions it to you later. It's not going to have the same effect as if it's mentioned when it happens, because it's there instantly in the front of your mind, and you'll probably take more notice of that if somebody just mentions it a little later. Oh, by the way, you didn't say this right. It's pronounced like this.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, it helps in that case to pay more attention. And yeah, of course, because the listeners also will pay more attention. If you, like, for example, tries to fix it 5 minutes later, maybe it will be a problem, tries to get what you are talking about. Because, I mean, not all the people listening our podcast, they are advanced maybe. So yeah, it would be good to just fix it right at the moment, right off the bat. Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Actually, I mean, like, I have some problem with the spontaneous talk, because I feel a little bit like without preparing something, be ready for it, when I tries to talk, I feel nervous. So yeah, I don't know what to say next. But yeah, I mean, I hope with this podcast it will help me. After some time, I will get the hang of it.
Well, you'll get a little bit more confidence the more you do. The more confidence you will get, because you're pushing yourself to a limit. You're pushing yourself further than you would normally do, and therefore your confidence will build, because you think, oh, that went all right. I'll feel a little more relaxed next time.
Yeah, actually, this is a new level for me, because I mean, at the beginning, I didn't even want to try to speak. I mean, like, I was so shy and hesitating when tries to create like some sentence. I just pause after every word, or make sounds like but now I feel a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, at that time when I talk, at least I have something in mind. But now, even like thanks to you made me test the water, check the water, or yeah, I mean, like, I'm trying something new. So Samira, what do you think of this method, this approach of Steve?
Yeah, a lot of people don't have access to talking directly to native speakers. And when they do, of course, they are nervous. Just like me when I first talked to Steve on Prefer Talk, I feel like my heart was pounding too fast. Like it's like asking my professor for revisions. But as time goes by, you get more relaxed and just getting your point across, expressing yourself, it gets easier. And of course, everything takes time. And I'm so grateful for Steve's existence on Free for Talk because I think one of the people there said Steve is the reason he got promoted or something. So yeah, I'm so grateful Steve is here, and I'm sure a lot of people do too.
We a little bit like tries to make it so good and feel a little bit like under pressure, but he just make us like, yeah, it is not so important like you think. Make me feel many times actually like that. I just pay attention to even tiny details, but he just, I mean, make me just, I mean, like overlook those things. And I started to think, yeah, so it shouldn't be like so serious. And yeah, thank you, Steve. Yeah.
That's okay. I like to try and encourage everybody if I can. Everyone has it in them to come and speak, and often people come and they're shy and they'll say, "Oh, my English isn't very good. I'm nervous. I don't want to make a mistake. I feel like a fool," and those things are just little things that you just need to overcome. It's like climbing a ladder. You've got to put your foot on the first rung of the ladder in order to elevate, to go up and to proceed and get on with it. So that's all it is getting the first step on the ladder. Once you've overcome that initial shyness and nervousness, you realize that the people you're talking with are friendly, they're polite, courteous, they want to help you, they're not going to make fun of you. Then you then start to feel more comfortable and relaxed, because it's almost, when you come back again, it's almost like, oh, I wonder if Ben's on today. I liked talking with Ben last time. He's a nice chap. And Severe is a nice lady. We always have nice conversations. I'll look for them and see if they're there. And it's like rekindling a friendship every time you meet each other again.
And how can I say, sometimes recording is good. For example, after several years, you can even check yourself and see. Because, for example, if you don't do recording of yourself, even though you made lots of progress, you may not notice it. You may not feel it. So sometimes, I mean, like, look back and compare yourself with the old yourself with the recording. It really motivates. It helps. I like it. Why? Because I said, see, I was like that and now I am like this. So see the difference. So I am proud of my mistakes sometimes. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Severa wants to ask something. Severa, go ahead, dear.
Yeah, I see you like several times go to Vietnamese room on Free for Talk. And I think there is a little stereotypical, I don't know, assumption about Vietnamese people is that they don't speak quite fully, as in pronunciation and other things. Is there any specific reasons you go to Vietnamese rooms?
Yeah, I do try to, because it's Free for Talk is run from Vietnam by Phuong, and he's created it, and it's a wonderful platform. But as I've said before in Vietnamese rooms, it's such a shame that a lot of the people from Vietnam don't come into English-speaking rooms to practice. I went into one the other day. It was the country was Vietnamese or Vietnam, and it said English underneath. I thought, oh, that means they're probably speaking English, so I'll go in. I don't normally go into Vietnamese rooms unless it says something about England or English in the title, because they would be speaking Vietnamese and I don't understand it. But I went in and I think there were 5 people there, and they were all talking English quite well, actually. I was quite surprised. And they said, oh, thank you for coming in. It's they'd heard of me from other people on Free for Talk, and we were just very grateful that I went in and offered to help. And that's what I like to do, offer to help.
So you came there to encourage them to speak more English.
Yes, to listen to what they had to say, hopefully join the conversation with them, and if they did make any errors or mistakes, then I could help them with that at that time, rather than maybe they come across something in a later time where they're pronouncing something wrong, when it could be fixed then when I was there. Not everybody gets the chance to speak to a native speaker who can give them information that is useful or important.
Okay, yeah, that's great. That's great. And how about you, Ben? Is it the same in Turkey? Do people get uncomfortable when they speaking in English?
Yeah, of course, it is not easy for us. And actually, I was having difficulties finding partner or finding someone to practice my speaking before I found Free for Talk. And actually, I was in an endeavor, like I created like a Discord group before Free for Talk and tries to make people join to talk with them. But how to spot those people, how to find those people, it was not easy. So I go and tries to chat with people, like in text chatting, to find people who can conversate, who can talk. But yeah, I mean, like, not easy. Not all of them are ready to speak, or they don't have time. For example, if hardly I find someone who can speak. But one of those people just mentioned Free for Talk, and she said, "Do you know Free for Talk?" And I said, "No." After that, I stopped that research. I mean, that searching anymore, because on Free for Talk, people are ready to talk. So you don't need to adjust anything. Like, for example, to do this podcast, to do this recording, we had a little difficulties to adjust the time for all of us. I mean, the available time or something. So it is a problem actually in normal case. But on Free for Talk, I mean, yeah, I mean, you don't need to set up anything. When you are ready, go and enter in a room, or you create your room, and people will come and you talk. And actually, recently they make the following features or something. So in that case, you can follow people like Steve, for example, who think it is useful to you. And when you see them available, you can jump in.
The
Yes,
following
absolutely.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Steve.
The follow feature is really useful because you come across new people all the time, and people you think, "Oh, I really enjoyed that conversation. That was nice." So you can follow the person, and then next time you come online, look in your followers list by clicking on the social button at the bottom right, and then you can see the people you follow if they're online and if they're in a room. And if there's a little telephone symbol, it means you can join and chat with your friends. It's wonderful.
Yes.
By the way, we are intended to intended, I think, right?
Intended.
Yeah. We are intended to make the podcast episode length, the duration of it, like around half an hour, so around 8 minutes or something left. Every one of us have something in mind to talk about, but I think we just started to talk about something it wasn't in our mind, and maybe our topics just stayed at the backup now. So maybe we can get one of them and talk about it. What do you think?
Yes, it would be an idea. It's surprising how quickly the time goes by. I mean, we've just been sort of chit-chatting about how we've known each other, how we've met each other Free for Talk, and just a general conversation. But already 25 minutes have gone, nearly. So it's surprising how quickly it flies by. You think, well, that's probably about 5 minutes. And you look and, what? 25 minutes? Where did that go?
Yeah, actually, and I was thinking when I am, tries to prepare a content in my mind, I said, come on, if I just, I need to do more and more and more, because, for example, this thing, it will end up, it will not continue like 5 minutes even. I just try to find more information, but it looks like the things I had in mind in this pace, if we go with this speed, it will take a couple episodes even. Wow.
It's amazing how quickly time does go by when you're having a chat. Certainly when it's with somebody that you're familiar with and you know a little bit about them. So, you know, you've got some history there, if you like, and quite often you'll go over something that you've mentioned before, and the time just flies away. It's really surprising.
And yeah, actually, I think you already have something in mind, and I have something like one or two topics. But since Savira maybe not all the time she can join us, so at least what do you have in mind, Savira? Let's talk about your topic a little bit. I mean, like tries to mention or talk about what you have in mind.
Okay. So this is not what I have in mind, but this is what I have in my note.
Okay.
So I wrote something about sustainability, about living sustainable. What's the adjective for that? Living
Sustainably.
Sustainably. Thank you. Living sustainably. So basically, you would be living off grids. Like you won't be dependent on gas and electricity. So it's quite expensive at first, but after several months or several years, it will eventually pay for itself. So it is definitely something that is quite popular, I think, in the past, maybe 5 years. And I'm quite intrigued by the whole idea of it, like solar panel, like biomass, biogas, and everything. And I would like to hear also your perspective about how to live in general. Is it? Do you guys have any view on this living sustainably?
I actually watched a TV series last night from Sue Perkins. It was about a road trip that she did across in California. She was, and it was in a motorhome, and she was visiting lots of people that actually do that and live all the time instead of living in a house or an apartment. They live in a motorhome and then just travel from place to place, set up camp, if you like, and they live in it. They've got a shower system, they've got a toilet system, and in America it's quite well catered for. It's something that we don't have in the UK, where we have lots of parks. There are parks available in the UK, but mainly down south. But in America, they're all over the place. So if you want to live in a motorhome, you can quite easily. And it was really interesting seeing how they were living off grid.
Mm-hmm. And actually, since humanity tries to go like to the sky, to other planets, for example, renewability, can we say renewability?
Not really, no.
What can we say?
Renewable something.
Renewable. I mean, like make things, usable again and again.
Usability of something you can be reused over and over again.
It again and again, Steve. Like, for example, outcome of something can be processed and get into use one more time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's really important until we find another source in those planets, of course. And you need to get the most of what already have. So that's really important.
Yeah, if you can use something again and again, then that's definitely the best way to do it, rather than having one-use things. That's what annoys me with plastic. There's so many manufacturers manufacturing single-use plastic, when it could quite easily be made out of recycled plastic and make it recyclable, so that it can be used many, many times. It annoys me when I see something that is made out of plastic that you just dispose of and it goes into landfill. It's terrible.
And it looks like, if you just want to add something, because our time is almost finished, so I can get last your words if you want to say something, Savira and Steve.
Oh, is it going to be over?
Feels like we've only just started.
Maybe we can have you in another episode and we can talk about it. And it looks like, wow, time flies or
Time flew by.
Okay, so thank you, Savira, and thank you, Steve. I want to hear your last words.
It's been my pleasure. I hope people listen to the podcast and find it's useful, and maybe they learned something, and perhaps they have a comment that maybe you can meet up on Free for Talk and you can come in and we can chat about it a little bit more.
And actually, let's announce that as well, Steve. For example, if some of our listeners, they have, of course, like not bothering microphone, we can have them in our podcast as well. I mean, like we can have them as a guest, and they, if they have something they want to talk with us, we are open to that, right?
Yeah, sure. The more the merrier.
So, Savira, what do you want to say?
I don't know, Ben, if you can give a little bit more time, but the other day, Steve was mentioning about Neuralink, and I thought it was such a very brilliant idea, and maybe Steve would like to explain it for a bit.
Yeah, actually, I am interested in that topic, but I think I will save it for another episode. Sorry, Steve, you were about to say something?
Save it for episode 3 of the live one.
Okay, then. So, and thank you to our listeners, all of you, for listening our podcast. I hope you also say this same thing. I hope you say, the time is flying, and how we just listened to and reached to the end of the podcast, and we didn't realize that. I hope you say that. So, I hope we will meet in the next episode. So, thank you all, and till next time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you start to long for the next episode. Out of Order English podcast has just finished. Goodbye. Out of Order English podcast. Out of Order English podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Out of Order English podcast has just started. Welcome. This is Out of Order English podcast episode number 2. I am Ben from Turkey. We have just started with lots of mishaps today, with lots of confusions, with lots of mistakes today. We have more than one guest. Steve is always here. Without Steve, this program also will not happen. And we have not only one guest, but 2 guests, Esra and Felix. And how can I say? Maybe we will say in the first episode, you were 3 people and we couldn't feel how the time is passed. Why you are 4 now? And actually, we will talk about that as well. We had predetermined, like predefined. Can we say predefined, Steve? Like predefined guest.
Yes, you could say you predefined or prepared in advance something in your mind.
Like we had a guest for today, but he changed his mind because he was about to release his song, and after releasing his song he will appear in our program, and maybe he will demonstrate it and talk about it or something. He's a musician, so because he couldn't make it, he said, I would like to join in another episode. That's why I reached to Steve and asked him, Steve, we are lack of guest. We need a guest. And there was Felix in the room at the same time, actually. And Felix was interested also to appear in our podcast. And I just offered him, Felix, would you like to join us in our podcast? And he said, no, for me. At least I heard it like that. But now he said no, I said yes. And I want to ask Steve, what did you hear yesterday? Felix, he said yes or no?
I was uncertain. I was not quite sure.
And Felix, you said yes, right? But why we misunderstood you then?
Well, to be honest, I don't have a lot of memories about what exactly did I say, but I'm pretty sure that I would like to join the podcast, but I don't know if I use the word yes or just a positive answer. Maybe the way I express myself is makes a lot of confusions. A lot of people would have heard in a negative way, and I'm sorry about the confusion.
It's okay, no problem. I mean, yeah, of course you were already in our list because we want you to appear in our program. But how can I say? The time was not suitable as much as I understand, because you asked the time and you compare it with Steve or something, and then I said if it is a matter of 1 hour, we can make it adjusted, take it a little bit ahead or back a little bit backward. But you said nothing. At least I didn't maybe pay attention. So I said, so let me find another guest. And I know Esra was already also interested to appear in our podcast. And actually before that, there was Riley also, and she's in our room now, and she's like a listener. She's just listening. We have a live audience, dear listeners, today. And actually I don't want to what is called, Steve, when you have only one conversate but you are only one talking, like mono it is not dialogue, but what is it?
Monotone.
Not monotone, like okay, if I find it I will tell you.
You're on your own. You're on your own when you're not speaking with anybody and you're making a speech.
Monologue. It is not dialogue, but
monologue, that's it. Thank you, Severa.
Yeah.
It's Sunday, my brain is half asleep today.
Yeah, actually we will talk about sleep as well. It is Esra just let the cat out of the bag. Okay, yeah, and that's why I reached to Esra, because I don't want to tell every step because it looks like we will exceed our time. Okay, Steve, we adjust the time for 13 GMT, and you were here like 1 hour before.
Yes. A little bit of confusion.
It's my mistake or your mistake or Sue's mistake?
We moved the clocks forward last Sunday, so that's GMT +1. That's why I was saying it's now, when we were talking about it, the time in the UK now is whatever the time was. So I thought people would look at the time and go, oh, well, that's so many hours difference. But it did not work out like that. Never mind.
Actually, yeah, I mean, Esra, it's also typed to her 13 GMT, but since she's in Turkey, I also put in parentheses like 16 Turkey time, but she was here like in 13 Turkey time, and she asked, where are you?
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to your message, and I saw that it's like 13 according to Turkish time, and I was here 3 hours ago, and I saw that there's no one here. And then I typed you.
Well, yes, it's this time zone difference is really infuriating when around the world, because you say it's 2 o'clock. No, it's 4:30 here. What? Oh, I can't get over these time differences. Grr.
I think that's the whole part of the confusion. Maybe the reason why you guys weren't really sure about whether I'm going to join the podcast is because yesterday I was concerning a lot about the time. I was like, GMT 13, so is it UK time? Is it GMT time? And then Steve was really certain about 1 p.m. UK time, and I was like, wait, but was it? Wait, but you've moved the time forward, haven't you? So that's why I was a bit confused, and maybe that way I made you guys confused as well, so that you guys are not really sure about whether I'm going to join this show today.
Well, we got there in the end. That's the important thing. I mean, we've all been here at different times throughout the day, and we've finally managed to get together at the same time. So that's the main thing.
Yeah, actually, it is just like Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law happens. If anything can go wrong, will go wrong.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Esra, you are from Turkey. Would you like to introduce yourself to us, for example, a little bit?
Yeah, I'm Esra, and as you said, I'm from Turkey. I've been using Free4Talk for maybe 5 months or 6 months, and I'm a student in English language teaching department. That's why I really find Free4Talk useful. That's why I've been using it for months, like that.
Very nice, very nice. Felix?
Yeah, so I'm Felix from Hong Kong, and I'm also known as Elixin on Free4Talk. I've been using Free4Talk for around half a year, since the last August. And my job, well, I am still studying, but I'm about to graduate in 3D animation industry.
Very nice. And Steve, everyone knows you, no need to introduce you, but what do you say, Steve, about our very first episode? I mean, like, actually, yeah, I also surprised at it. We got lots of encouraging and lots of good feedback for the first episode. I didn't expect to get lots of feedback for the first episode, at least.
Well, it was a surprise. Yeah, it went quite well, and it was a good conversation. It went very quickly, as we mentioned at the time. But yes, the feedback we've had has been really positive, and everybody said that they enjoyed it, that they learned something from it, and it's a nice, pleasant surprise.
Most of them, I mean, many of them, they are satisfied or very happy about the voice quality because, for example, you record yourself in your site in higher quality, and I record myself also in the same way, and we mix it. And actually, it is funny, Savira just commented after that. She was our first guest in the program, and she just said, yeah, I will order my microphone.
Well, I think it's nice if you've got a good quality microphone. It just makes you sound better. I was talking to somebody on Free4Talk just before I came to here, and I think in the last week or two, they've bought 3 different microphones because they wanted to sound good. And the one they have now is really good. It sounds very, very clear.
And actually, yeah, one of those feedbacks also was that, like that. I don't know, he said, Ben, when I listen to your program, I mean, I don't know, like, I just want to keep on listen more and more. What's the secret, he said. I said, I don't know.
When we figure that out, we'll market it and make a fortune.
Yeah, actually, I know some tricks, but yeah, let me not let the cat out of the bag. So I didn't tell him anything, Steve.
That's
don't
good.
worry. And our secret is safe.
We have to keep some secrets.
So, okay.
Oh, just one more comment on last episode. The best comment I think we had that made me laugh was somebody, we were discussing it on Free4Talk, and somebody said, oh, that was a great podcast. When are you doing the next one? Tomorrow? And I was, what? Are you kidding me? Tomorrow? We're not doing it daily.
Yeah.
But I thought that was one of the best comments. We're doing it tomorrow. No.
Yeah, actually, for example, even when we just broadcasted it, I mean, like, put it on YouTube. By the way, actually, I just switched from topic to topic because I feel a little bit, like, nervous because I feel excited when it is recording and I know it will be, like, published. So I don't know, but I feel like a little bit excited. So, okay, I want to just say that it is Out of Order English podcast, dear listeners. It is alongside YouTube. It is on several different podcast platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcast, Amazon, and other platforms like Google Podcast as well. So you can reach from there as well. For example, if you prefer just listening, because we are preparing it like audio only, but we put it on YouTube as well.
Yeah, YouTube's the go-to point for a lot of people, but if you've got Spotify, then you can find it there too.
For sure. What was I talking about? I just digress and forget, sorry.
You were talking about I can't remember now. You were talking No, it's
Spotify and Google
podcasts, and where it's available not only as a video like on YouTube, but it's available as audio only.
Yeah, before that. So, see, it is a test for you. It is like not just the listeners also, like you are taking part in the podcast, but are you listening to me or you are just focusing to what you are going to say? Yeah, I am testing that now.
Yeah, it's what you're going to say next. It's like, oh, you need to keep it going. What am I going to say next? I must make a note of things.
Yeah, actually, I feel that, for example, if something, I mean, like, I am excited or something, I don't pay attention, people, what are they talking about? If I have something to say, I just, like, wait my turn to come and say it, like, to feel relaxed. So now I think you are all the same. I don't know. By the way, Esra, you want to talk about what with us?
I wanted to talk about are you a night owl or early bird? Like, because we were talking about time. I wanted to be here in time, that's why I woke up early, not to be late. And because I'm a night owl. And I just wanted to talk about that. Do you have a regular sleep order or you have some problems with sleeping?
No, there's too much silence. I can't stand it. Problems with sleeping? Yes, I have problems with sleeping. I used to be a night owl when I was younger, but I'm getting older now, so I generally go to bed about the same sort of time and don't sleep particularly well. But there are occasions where I will stay up a little later. My normal bedtime now is between 10 and 10:30.
That's good.
That's a very healthy time to start to fall asleep, as I reckon, because if you sleep later than 12 o'clock, it starts to be late, and your body metabolism will start to have some problem, isn't it?
That's true. Well, my dog usually starts to pester me around 10 p.m. and when it gets closer to 10:30, she's really pestering. So she likes her routine. She likes to go to bed at the same time.
Yeah, routines are good, but don't you think that night is also peaceful and you can enjoy? For instance, I spend lots of time on FIFA Talk, and mostly at night it's more fun. That's why I don't sleep at night that much.
Yeah, for me, I can relate a lot because I do 3D animations, and things about animation is that I have to do a lot of artwork, including computer animation, and sometimes I have to do designs, drawing pictures, and at night it is the perfect timing to draw.
Yeah.
I don't know, because firstly it's because I'm more awake at night, and second is it starts to be quiet and it feels like the world is yours, and it's the perfect timing to boost up your inspiration, and you just have the energy to do the art.
Yeah, I agree. You can be more creative to draw something, yeah.
They say early bird and night owl, right? I mean, like, for example, if someone likes to wake up early to do things early, they say he is early bird, and if likes to not sleep awake at night, like Esra, for example, they call it night owl, right?
That's right, yep.
What's the reason for that? Is there any reason for it?
Well, we have a saying in the UK, the early bird catches the worm.
Yeah.
So, in other words, if the birds get up early, then they get the worms first.
Ah.
I guess I will never catch the worm.
And actually, there was a song by Charles Silverstein. Oh, if you are a bird, be an early bird and catch the worm for your breakfast plate. But if you are a worm, sleep late. Otherwise, the bird will catch you.
You'll be gobbled up.
Gobbled up.
Amanda's joined us. Hello, Amanda.
Yeah, we have many live listeners, actually. Yeah, actually, we can also announce that, Steve, maybe. We have also a Discord group, dear listeners. I mean, like, maybe you will have our link in comment section in YouTube, or if you are listening in the podcast, if you go to the official page, you will also have Discord channel link there. So you can join us in our Discord server, because we do the actual recording on Discord. We have so far around 30 members in our Discord channel.
And if the people that are in the chat that aren't microphoned, if you'd like to ask a question that you'd like us to answer, or maybe suggest something for us to talk about, just type it in and we'll see that you're typing. Oh, Amanda's typing now. What's she going to say? What's she going to say?
Yeah, we are all ears.
All eyes, maybe.
The suspense is killing me. Oh, she's just happy listening. Oh, that's good.
And Avcı, welcome Avcı. You can maybe describe us because Steve, Amanda just said, I am happy, and I just remembered phrase, happy camper. What is happy camper?
Happy camper is...
Avcı is happy jumper now, I can say. Okay, sorry. Go on.
She's jumping with that emoticon or that little GIF. Yeah, she's jumping and saying, hey, so you're missing this. You're not here in Discord, so you're missing all the fun. Come and join us next time.
So happy camper is mean what, Steve?
Normally when you're camping, if you're in a tent or a caravan or something like that, it's normally a happy time. So happy camper comes from that, I suppose. I don't know. Let me go and have a look on Google and see where it originates.
Okay. Meanwhile, I will talk with Esra. Esra, for how long have you been having that disorder, like being a night owl? Because I am also like that, but sometimes I also change my sleep time. But yeah, usually I enjoy staying awake at night.
I don't really remember how long, because for years I'm like that, and I really enjoy actually. Yeah, it's hard, but at the same time I enjoy being awake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, according to Google, a happy camper is a satisfied participant. So a satisfied participant, a contented person, as in she loved the challenge of her new job. She was one happy camper. Mm. This expression is also often put in the negative, as in she hated the heat and humidity of the southern summer. She was not a happy camper.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Felix, do you want to talk about something?
Yes, I have something in my mind. When you guys talk about the secret recipe of the podcast, the reason why there's so many supporters, I think one good thing about our podcast is that we invite both native speakers and non-native speakers in the podcast, and when people listen to it, they can relate and they can learn English from native speaker, as well as understanding the difficulties or the things we want to pay attention to, or the things we can improve when we're speaking English. Because when we talk about podcasts, there are so many podcasts by native speakers nowadays. It can be American and British, more than thousands of them, but we rarely find podcasts with both native and non-native speakers. So for people who are in the beginning stage of learning the language, it helps a lot. I think that's our secret recipe.
Yeah, of course. Like Steve's appearances, like attendance. Is it attendance, Steve? Can I say attendance?
Attendance, yeah, you could say attendance or participation.
Wow, it is my first time I will use attendance. Okay. Steve's attendance in the podcast, of course, it is makes it valuable. Otherwise, of course. Yeah, it is Steve's idea, actually. And we name it like Out of Order English Podcast because mostly because of me, because I am the one who cause lots of mistakes, and Steve is the one who will fix things and make it in order. Like works orderly. But actually, when we take out of order, also it means like it is not in line, like not all the time, like it will go like as you expect it. So yeah, it is actually, it suits for our podcast, suits our content as well.
Yes, you never really know what's going to happen next. It's well, the idea was spontaneous. Let's do a live recording. It can be spontaneous, not scripted. So you don't really know where it's going. You're talking about one thing one moment, and then you could be talking about something totally different the next moment, and that's what makes it interesting for people. If it's scripted, then it's all sort of regimented and you know what you're going to say, and you don't have the same sort of enthusiasm perhaps because you're just reading a script. But like this, we don't know who's going to say what next.
But in this case, actually, since I am trying to make the connections or something, I feel like I am like a grasshopper, switch from this content to this content and tries to, like, for example, you go to search for happy camper, and I just switch to again to Esra's topic, and then we switch back a little bit, like hard to like it is kind of juggling act. What is juggling act, Steve?
Yeah, it's when you throw into the air some balls and you juggle them when you've got more than two or three things going, and one of them could fall to the side and then it's all ruined. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to try it, including any bloopers that we make. If you make a mistake, then you can see that it's live, that it's not choreographed, and if somebody does make a mistake, and then we can all laugh at them, which is really fun.
Yeah, I am the one who's laughed at. Yeah, but it's okay, because how can I say? Yeah, I mean, like Steve, for example, if you are like doing something in so high quality all the time, like played by books, for example, after some time, it's at the beginning of the program, you just already said that, like, it sounds a little bit after some time monotonous. But for example, now, I mean, like, you talk in very good way, I mean, fix things, but I make it terrible, and that makes the listeners a little bit like makes them a little bit like
One thing I would like to say before we end is that Ben has done some fantastic work on getting the podcast prepared and ready, and the idea of it was that Ben didn't spend hours and hours and hours editing it and preparing it and getting it all set and ready for publication. He made an amazing job of doing the graphics. He did an amazing job of the intro, the background music, and the outro. So there was a lot of work last time, but now that he's got the intro and he's got the outro and he's got the background music sorted out, I'm hoping he's not going to spend days editing it. That's the plan, is that you can just put in the intro, put in the outro, a bit of background music, and then you can go, it's done.
Yeah, I hope so, Steve, but I cannot promise about that, yeah, because I know myself. But yeah, actually, we did the big load. From now on, I think I will focus more for the content, not the repeated parts, at least. Yeah, and of course, I mean, like, thanks to you, of course, one more time. If these out of order English podcasts come into existence, it is because of you. And how can I say? Yeah, let's. Wow, I was thinking, Steve, preparing a poem to read it actually, but yeah, it looks like I will hold it for next time, because yeah, I think we have around like 4 or 5 minutes, and actually because after I cut some spaces in between, I can save like maybe 1-2 minutes, so let's make it 5 minutes more. Yeah, we had our guests and we didn't allow them to talk so much, so I feel guilty. Yeah, I feel guilty now. Steve, maybe I can shut up a little bit and you try to talk with our guests, because yeah, I all the time dominating the conversation and I feel guilty. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Felix is a talkative person too. Normally when we have a chat on Free for Talk, Felix likes to have a good chat.
Yes. Is that a compliment, or you're too talkative, you're too noisy?
No. You can have a conversation about most things. Your English is good, as I said before, and yes, I know. Yes, you think you can do better, and there's always room for improvement. There's even room for improvement for me. I'm a native English speaker, and I don't know every word, so I come across new things all the time.
Yes, that's right. I think there can be a lot of improvement, even for native speaker. For instance, my Chinese has gone worse. Maybe part of the reason is because I use English a lot more on Free for Talk, and secondly, when I write things, I start to forget how to write, or how to like, because in Chinese we've got those strokes and orders, and I just forget everything. And then thanks God there's Google and voice to like speech to text, so that I can just read aloud and it becomes text, but I'm over relying on it. So yeah, obviously when we're in native in a language, we still can make improvements.
It's thank goodness for all this technology that we're able to put things into and get something out that is in an understandable format, whether it's translating or pronunciation.
Mm-hmm. But does it happen to native speaker, you think? So sometimes you just forget how to spell the word, and like it happens.
Yes, it does.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes I'll type something into chat and I think that's not spelled right, that doesn't look right, and I'll check, and sometimes it is spelled right, but my brain's just telling me that's not right. So I'd still check. I still do check sometimes.
Mm-hmm. But does it only happen to simple words, or even longer words?
Not so much the simple words, but the words that are not commonly used. Sometimes you look and just think that doesn't look right, and then you go and check the spelling.
That reminds me of my experience when I'm hanging in university assignment, when I type, and then because of the Microsoft Word, they point out the error or the mistake you make from this wrong spelling. And then it says, oh, you've got wrong spelling. I was like, no, I'm right. And then I look up it for 10 seconds, sometimes minutes, and then I realize, oh right, you're right, I'm wrong. But I couldn't realize what I did wrong until I spent quite some minutes to figure it out.
Yeah, you can't be perfect all the time.
That's right.
We have to say goodbye. What would you like to say for your last words?
Ladies first.
Okay, so it was a nice conversation. I'm happy that I'm here. So
Thank you, Esra. Actually, I would like to talk about your because you are interested in painting and you are like interested in arts, but maybe for another time, like if you are maybe in
Yeah,
another
maybe
episode,
later,
because you have lots of other stuff as well.
thanks for inviting.
Thank you for participating, Esra.
Yes, thanks for coming in. Nice of you to be here. Thank you.
Thank you too.
And Felix, hi.
I'm so delighted to be part of this podcast because it has been a very nice chat, really inspiring. And my last words would be, yes, Steve, you were right about if we are doing the podcast, time just flies so fast. I feel like it has been, say, 7 minutes, but no, it's already about 35 minutes. It's been a long time.
Oh, yeah.
It does fly by.
Felix, you were also experienced about like podcasting because you were also interested, and actually you have an idea about creating one, I suppose, right?
Yes, I've been thinking about doing English podcasts as well, but I haven't put effort in in investigating how to do it because I've got experience in doing it in my language, in Cantonese, but it was a long time ago. But yeah, I'm so happy to finally have the chance to speak in English and do a new podcast.
Well, Amanda's just typed, Felix, your accent, I'm impressed. So I was telling you the other day that your English is good and other people are saying the same thing. So it must be true.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your compliments. Thank you.
Yeah, just to reiterate, if you're listening to the podcast, we've got a Discord server where the audio is much better quality than Free for Talk. Not that Free for Talk is bad, but Discord is slightly better. And if you'd like to join, look at the link underneath the video, and you can click on the link and come and join the Discord group. And then if you have a question for us that maybe you haven't managed to speak to us on Free for Talk, come into the Discord server when we're next recording it, and you can be part of the podcast while we read your question out loud and perhaps hopefully answer it.
Yeah, and let me say thank you to our listeners and our live listeners as well. Let me just mention the names quickly: Riley, Savira, Auji, and Amanda. Thank you all, and till next time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you start to long for the next episode. Out of Order English podcast has just finished. Goodbye. Out of Order English podcast. And okay.
Were you giving yourself applause then?
Yeah, but just one applaud, it will not be enough. I want more. Actually, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people. Yeah, I mean, it makes 8 hands. Yeah, you can give us a hand, Steve, Savira, right? Anyway. Out of Order English podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Out of Order English podcast has just started. Welcome. This is Out of Order English podcast episode number 3. I am Ben from Turkey. Welcome everyone. We are in the third episode today. We have Steve, only Steve. And yeah, we have live audience as well, Savira and Riley for now. And we will talk why we don't have a guest today. We are giving our time to the participants, so we want to prepare something. For example, in the previous episode, I wanted to read a poem, but since we had two guests, I think there wasn't enough time. So I said maybe in this episode we will not have a guest, and then we will have more time for doing our own performance. I don't know, I was already just joking, but yeah, I will talk about why we end up having no guest today. But before that, let me welcome Steve. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you. That's very nice to be welcomed. Welcome to you too.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Steve, do you have any idea why we have no guest today?
Well, I do, because you just told me.
Yeah, actually we had, I will give the name also. I will expose him. Yeah, we had Yusuf Sami to join our podcast, and he was ready for it. But yeah, just yesterday he just reached to me and said, "Ben, you know what? I will not be able to attend." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Yeah, I will have my iftar for like a breakfast because we are in Ramadan with a friend." And I said, "But when did you talk with him?" He said, "Just today." And I said, "But we talked with you before today." And he said, "If it will not be today, I need to wait for until next week to happen that dinner," he said. And I said, "Okay, if you miss joining Out of Order English podcast, after a couple months maybe it will come to you the turn." And I said, "Yeah, it is for one time only. If you do that thing again one more time, I mean like a couple months later, I think you will lose your chance forever because we will not accept you. Because, yeah, Steve, I don't want him to take us for granted."
Yes, he'll be banished. No, he's a busy chap, isn't he? He has things that he needs to do. So sometimes the best made plans don't always go as you want them to.
Can we say, like in this context, like take someone for granted or take something for granted?
Not really. No, I don't think he's taking us for granted. It's that would be if you're using somebody, for instance, if you're
or not appreciating maybe.
Yeah, if you're taking them for granted, it's like you take for granted when you turn the tap on, water will come out. That's something that you could take for granted.
Yeah, and that's why the first name come to my mind is Riley, and yeah, all the time is like that. I think one day she will just to be removed from my mind. She will accept that. She is now in live audience. I sent her a private message to join us, but because she wasn't around, and I thought maybe Riley will not see the message on time, so it will be a little bit waiting response from her. It will be not good action now. I said, yeah, because we have a list of people who want to join our podcast. And I reached to another person and he said, yeah, I am ready. I will be available at that time. Then I said, if Riley now will accept it, what will happen? It will be like also like we will end up having more than one guest like what we did in the previous episode. So I said, I noticed that on Discord we have the chance to modify, to edit the text even though it is a private message. So I did some trick and replaced the text. And then I thought maybe because when you send a message, the person informed by the email and sometimes the message included in the email. So I said, what if Riley saw the original message?
Well, we have Taha with us and Yusuf has joined as well. That's nice to see you. And obviously we mentioned we have Riley and Severa here too. Nice to see you.
So both of our problematic guests are in the room now. I mean, Yusuf and Taha. So I don't know. I wonder if they will be able to join us or not. But now let me still continue attacking Yusuf a little bit more. Yusuf, will you be able to join us?
No, be careful. He might start singing.
And yeah, he said, one of the reasons maybe he's not joining us, he said, I will not be able to sing. And I said, I was joking, don't take it seriously. I was like, why I trying to force him to sing, Steve, do you know? Because, for example, when I sing, he don't appreciate it. He take me for granted, and he said, I don't want you to sing anymore. And I want him to sing and compare it with myself. Then I will make him realize how good singer I am.
Well, I'm just hoping you don't do a duet.
Yeah, because he will corrupt me at that time. He will not be able to keep up with me. So yeah, at that time we will be like out of order.
Definitely.
Can we say that, right? Like out of tune.
Well, out of tune, possibly. Yes, that's a strong possibility.
And actually, there was a special word or phrase for like out of tune. Can we say, not Concord. I forgot. If anyone remember from the audience, they can type it. It is Discord. You are on Discord already. How you don't remember it? It's Discord. You are on Discord already. How you don't remember it? You are on Discord already. It's Discord. You are on Discord already. How you don't remember it? You are on Discord already. By the way, Taha, will you be able to join us? Yeah, actually, for replacement to Yusuf, I reached to Taha and he accepted, and now didn't join us yet because he said, I slept in. Can we say slept in, Steve, when you didn't wake up on time?
Yes, you slept in, meaning you didn't wake up when you anticipated you were going to.
Actually, he didn't say that, but yeah, I paraphrasing it. So trying to use some phrases and phrasal verbs or something. And also make the audience become aware of these phrases. And actually, yeah, because in normal time I don't use these phrases easily because I am not sure how to use them. So it is an opportunity for me to take confirmation from you, and listeners also will learn from it.
Always happy to help.
Thank you so much, Steve.
You're welcome.
So, Steve, what do you want to talk about? All the time we prioritize. Yeah, it is a difficult pronounced word for me. Actually, I practiced it a little bit, and now I am able to say it. Do I sound fine? I mean, like correctly? Prioritize,
that's right, yeah. Taha was server muted. I've just unserver muted him.
Yeah, we have that ability actually in the recording live room. We make the participants force it muted. Even though they want to talk, they will not be able to unless we allow them. So now, yeah, I mean, Yusuf and Taha, both I think they are ready to talk, I suppose. Yusuf, do you want to say something?
Yes, so first of all, thank you for having me.
Hello, Yusuf.
Hello, Steve. Hello, Ben.
You decided to renege from appointment with your friend or what?
Yes, just as I told you yesterday, is that I always organize meetups and hanging outs with my friends, but most of the time I end up just staying at home. So that's what happened today.
Yeah, but why did you make us find another guest then?
Yes, so I was supposed to go out, but today, surprisingly, the weather was too hot. I think we got hit by a heat wave today. The temperature right now is around 38 in my place in Alexandria.
Cool.
Yes.
38.
So you are simply trying to say, don't depend on my words. I am not the man of my words.
Is this how you're supposed to talk with your guests? For God's sake. Come on.
I mean, like, of course it wasn't like that at the first hand. I mean, at the first place. But when you do that tricks to me, yeah, now actually I started to behave a little bit like not nice host. I know that. Maybe Steve will compensate for it, yeah. Or maybe Steve will also support me. I don't know.
No, I kept my word until the last second. I was on Free for Talk. I told you that I might not come, and I wasn't coming until Savira texted me and told me, Yusuf, join us. And then I said, but I think you might have another guest. And then she said, no, you don't. You don't. You can join us. And then I came. However, I did tell you yesterday that I might not be able to come today, right?
Yeah, that's why I asked you. I wanted to be certain. I mean, like, because
Yes,
otherwise.
I was certain, but Savira told me to come.
Okay, then.
You have to do what Severa tells you.
Yes, exactly. You have always to say,
Yes,
yes,
dear.
dear.
Okay, Steve, I don't even want him to sing after doing this to us.
Thank God.
So, Steve, you can have a little bit conversation with our lovely guest, dear guest. Yeah, I will make him pay through the nose today. Can we say through the nose? I mean, pay through the nose?
Yes, you say pay through the nose. Yes.
What does that paying through the nose mean?
Yeah, you're going to pay more than you expected, more than you would have assumed that you were going to pay. If you take your car to the garage, for instance, and they say, oh, you need this fixing and that fixing, in your head you think, oh, that's going to be about £300. And then when you go back to pick it up, it's 625. You think, oh, I've paid through the nose for that.
Ah, I see. Sami,
Yes.
are you with us? Okay. So, what do you have in mind? You have nothing? I mean, what do you want to talk with us? Okay.
Well, I was going to talk about the heat wave that we got hit today. Do you guys have heat waves right now, or it's only here in Egypt?
I have headache actually. Not heat
I
wave.
see. Did it start as soon as I joined the room?
It was 14
believe
degrees today here. 14. Yesterday was 18, so it's dropped a little bit today.
Yes, so it says here in my place in Alexandria, it's going to be 38 degrees today. And what's really weird is that tomorrow it's going to be down to 22.
Well, that's a big difference from one day to the next.
Exactly. And it's
Right.
even bigger difference between day and night. So at night it's going to get down to 14 degrees.
I don't know how you're going to manage. You'll have to get 2 blankets out.
Exactly. That's going to be freezing cold for me. 14 degrees. That's freezing cold to Egyptian bodies.
Taha, tell us about why are you late?
I was a bit insomniac like since 10 days. Yeah, I've been using Free for Talk intensively those days, so I spent most of the night there and I don't sleep too early. I slept at 6 a.m. I think, and I already woke up 1 hour ago I think. That's why I'm a bit late.
Yes, so you were burning the candle at both ends, meaning you stayed up really late and then had to sleep in.
And actually, I remembered also another phrase. It is like burning the midnight oil.
That's right, yeah. Burning the midnight oil is when you're up past midnight, and it comes from the times when you used to burn oil in a little wick, and that used to give you your light. Burning the midnight oil was when you stayed up after midnight to do whatever it is you're doing.
So we can use it in this context, right? For Taha, for example, we can say you burned the midnight oil yesterday, so you couldn't be here on time.
Well, if he didn't go to bed until 6 o'clock, then yes, he was definitely burning the midnight oil. But was it worth it, Taha? Did you do everything you wanted it to do?
Yeah, that was the thing I was intended to ask. It is good.
I had no intentions. I was just chilling, let's say. And I'm really in a mood to talk those days, so yeah, this is what I'm doing.
Well, as long as you had fun, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I have a question for Steve. I mean, do you use a lot of idioms there in the UK?
We do, but to an English person, we don't generally notice that it's an idiom. To people that are learning language will hear that and say, what does that mean? And then we think, oh yes, that's an idiom, and then we have to explain it.
Oh, I see.
but idioms are quite regularly used. And as a native English speaker, you don't always think, oh, that's an idiom as you say it.
But what about like the second language speakers? Should they really focus on learning idioms and try to use them in their speech or not? What do you think?
Well, I wouldn't say specifically to spend time learning them because there are hundreds. What I usually suggest to people is do a search on Google or your favorite search engine. There are other search engines available, and just do a search for top 20 idioms, and they'll come back with the most commonly used. Those are certainly ones that you want to remember. But I wouldn't get a book or start searching around the net too much because there are hundreds, and trying to commit them all to memory is going to be difficult.
And also, what about collocations?
Again, it's important to know them. It's like swear words. It's good to know them, not necessarily to use them, but if somebody's being rude to you, you want to know that they're being rude. So it's useful to know them, but I wouldn't try and study them too much because you'll just bog yourself down with information and phrases that you'll rarely use.
Do you know that, Steve? There was an experiment, actually. It was a little bit like some years back, and it was funny. When you pay more, you enjoy more for the food. The researchers from a university, go to some restaurant, and they said they will conduct an experiment, and they offer the same food. It is one for $4 and one for $8, but the same, everything. And at the end, the people who pay more, they enjoy it more. Like they reported it, they around 10%, 20%, they enjoy it more.
Well, sometimes you think that you're paying for something and it's going to be good, even if you get less amount. It's I don't eat out at restaurants now. I haven't eaten out at a restaurant for many years, but the ones that I see on television, when I do catch a little bit of a cookery program, they look very attractive and they look very appetizing, but the cost of some of these meals, when there's such a minimal amount on the plate, it would upset me a bit, I think, if it cost that much. You go to a top-notch restaurant and you expect to pay a heavy price or a big price for the food, but the portions they give you on the plate, it's just like a little portion of food in the middle of the plate. Lots of plate left empty, and you think, well, is this the starter? This isn't the main course, surely.
Yeah, actually, sometimes, when we go to the market and I see, for example, a product, but it has discount, reduction, maybe half price, for example, I just suspect, is it the expiration date is coming, or is there some other reason, in the manufacturing process, something go wrong? Why it is a half price now? Do you have that doubts from time to time?
We have that in the UK. There's what we call a cheapie section, or a section where the prices have been reduced for fruit and veg, or for cold products, that they're sort of priced cheaper because they're running out, or the date for them is best before is that day. And sometimes you can buy a bargain if you're going to eat it that day.
Yusuf, you are a businessman. What do you think about this method? And actually people also use this other way. Making things when you, for example, have a restaurant or you are selling something. If you make it cheap, also people started to doubt about it.
Yes, of course. Sometimes people always correlate cheaper prices with bad quality. So if you make your restaurant, if you offer your customers with cheap products or cheap meals, then customers will start to see if maybe you are only offering this cheap prices only because your products have low quality. Of course, you have to balance it. You have to offer still cheaper prices, but because always customers are always interested in cheaper prices, but not too cheap that would make customers be suspicious to you. So it's always to make it in the middle.
Well, when I buy anything, usually I go for the middle price range. I don't go for the most expensive or the cheapest. I go for something around the middle.
Yeah.
And then usually get some reasonable quality then. Severa's got a good question. I wonder how people make all-you-can-eat restaurants profitable. So these restaurants, you go and you pay a set fee, say, I don't know, £10, whatever it might be, and then you can eat as much as you like. How do they make that profitable?
What is the phrase for it, Steve? I mean, like you can eat whatever you want, how much you want. You can say...
Yeah, all you can eat.
all you can eat.
Yeah, I think they probably buy in bulk, knowing that they're going to go through a lot of food. And because they're buying in bulk, they get it for a cheaper price.
And also the participants, not all are eat the same. For example, there are people who have diets, for example. They don't eat whatever they want, for example. So yeah, I mean, in like overall, they balance it, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it balances out because you're going to have children eating as well as adults. You're going to have adults with big appetites as well as people with just the average appetite. But I'm sure these places are buying the products in a discounted price to ensure that they still make a profit.
Mm-hmm. And Ami said buffet restaurant is the same thing. It is all you can eat. It means like buffet restaurant maybe. Yeah, you are...
Yeah, it's pronounced buffet.
Buffet.
Buffet, but it's pronounced buffet. I imagine it's a French word.
We call it buffet. In
Buffet. I say, buffet. How lovely.
Yeah, by the way, we didn't ask our participants to introduce themselves because they were late, so we just cut those parts. I will like to save time. Let's just make them introduce themselves. Yusuf and Taha. Taha, can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Taha, I'm 26 years old and I'm from Algeria, North Africa. It's actually the biggest country in Africa, so if you ever heard about it. And I'm a recently graduated petroleum production engineering student, which means I can work in the oil and gas industry. And about the English language, I started real practice like 5 years ago, simultaneously with my university period, because English is kind of important language in my field of studies. Most of the resources are available in English. But the good thing that I discovered, my passion and the love of English. I mean, I really enjoyed practicing with people and learning the language. And believe it or not, I prefer English over my mother tongue. I mean, I can speak for the whole day in English without getting bored. So yeah, it's like I hit two birds with one rocket.
It means like you fell in love in English. With English. Fell in love with, right, Steve?
Yes, fell in love with, that's right.
Good. And Sami, Yusuf? I mean, not Sami Yusuf, Yusuf Sami, actually, because there's a British singer, what is called spiritual music he makes, and he's well known actually across the world, Sami Yusuf.
And I used to brag about that I share the same first and last name with Sami Yusuf, the famous singer, when I was a kid. But yeah, my name is Yusuf Sami, I'm from Egypt, I'm 24 years old. I graduated from business school and currently I work as a call center agent for a dropshipping company.
It's nice. Wow, Steve. Wow, 35 minutes? Wow, how is that? How is that? I thought I will read a poem today.
Well,
come on.
You can edit it down to 29 minutes and spend a minute to read a poem.
It will not be enough. I tried my best and did some demonstration. I need 4 minutes. So I think I will keep it for next time.
Thank God.
And next time, yeah, it will... I will sing, Steve. No, Steve.
Oh, please,
I will
please
sing,
don't.
Yusuf.
Please don't.
I will put it in the editing, yeah? And I will just, when I, for example, make Yusuf introduce himself, I will sing it that part and that part. Always next time poem. Yeah, actually, Samira. And how can I say? Yeah, maybe next time I will not try to find an alternative guest. If they don't appear, it's okay. I will read my poetry. I can even sing. I can even dance, even though you don't see it. It's okay. So next time, yeah, actually, every episode I learn something. So Steve, what do you want to say for last words? I mean, like a little bit in quick way.
In a quick way, the time flew by yet again.
Yeah.
We know it's going to, but we're still surprised when it does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the time is like that. And Sami, what do you want to say for your last words?
For my last words before I go to the execution room, Ben, please don't ever sing again.
See, Steve, why I should go harsh on this kind of people? Yeah.
I think you should just mute him.
But yeah, we are at the end already.
I'm joking.
And Taha, what would you like to say for your last verse?
I enjoyed talking and listening to you, even if it was really fast for me, because I think I'm the last one who arrived, and I hope I can arrive at time the next time. Yeah. And thank you so much, and thanks for the audience who gonna listen to this podcast.
Okay, thank you, Sami, thank you, Taha, and thank you, Steve, for being in this podcast, and thanks our listeners for taking time and listening to us. And actually, I want to double thank our live listeners, because they are appeared here and they contributed to our podcast and listened to us in live way. And yeah, let me just mention the names, because I want to recall the names, because after publishing the podcast, I reached to them and asked them, comparing the live session with the published version. So, okay, it is Ami, Riley, Savira. Yeah, we have 3 live listeners also today. Thank you all, and till next time.
Au revoir.
Do not forget to subscribe to our channel to get the news as fast as you can.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you start to long for the next episode. Out of Order English podcast has just finished. Goodbye. Out of Order English podcast.